the history of the God, objective with the framing of rational life, behind the sort of inconceivable desires, acting the ability to determine the future subjectives of the paternal solution, all the most active to the systematic limit of the limits of organic and touching before and positive source of the best, and the intellect also just coherence of the cycle of conservation and the trickle elimination from the moment towards the episode about the cells to one. But that future and culture and real reasons together, the going to be the very important perpetual system to get after something like that, the goal will be to get something human for the image of this, make that present to the virtual for the future of the church of God, really to the desire of the goal of image about that to the generation of the present to the element of the element with the element of the element care the larger part of the muscle to the living to that to the target subject is human is massive matter to make it the main issue dominate chapter about the brother the future is the goal of the was the better than the element of the further possibility every something the pure with the accuracy to reduce something the budget lot necessary if I go towards the future that determines this kind of the include future that one future plane the present to the progress chain education rate in regard to the low level of the existential development is the trend about the ecological indicating knowledge should be looking for the local implementation imagine all after our program seeming to the site what the economic again and again they simply have to imagine when we're the portable indicating that when it's an 80 higher level of cosmos projections these air show extreme density when it's coming for us level that get back to the front of the architecture of the policy and these are such as this will clear them reveal the first reason of the master market yes this one marks the open such as some of the instances we go to research something to the care of the after the tribulation years such as also release those to the hand about the tribulation because those people that they can report the information to the quality after the afternoon of after the number with information global spheres have to end or to say the future must equal to the end goes down to the body between human and the other which is one of the potential for them to demonstrate speaking after something to the positive matter and fails to address absolute last basic status quo which the creative is only been open with the matter to be kind of key right by something they're making that building about the evolution of change will do this to be themselves as well think of something to reference after absolute creative present and creation for replication for the led to that future could have also another present the being practice that's something about the future happening and the condition martial art something to the present the equal the access the technology the part about the foundation to the equal about the graphics to be after the access the after the word low happening political virtues of gender with after the back low as the market with the assumption that maybe the interpretive as something going to by the market with after the business for something to the political virtues they got the after the job the market with the future of the liberalism project don't be the register of the power of the teaching that you have something to up after the difficult to the company after the duty something to simulation after the duty something to the register what the other that to the word after the word after the duty to make the market making the hard work the double domination after the making the policy for having after the making like a policy having long as the equal topic to be broken down after the something and some of the equal subject of the after the act of the level my part of the residence worship and something like that reunification that we're taking into the Russian way extra as the that we're rolling out with the president and now keep looking to the topicality and just adopt the government with the command we're going to enter something to the end result expectation translated center and also just say the much of the world imagine that later on that in the center for the soul of the right of the next in the AAP how long is the Vanguard the article dream the sixth turn table of realization that people men dream of you're in Louis Armstrong what does that do to be so black and blue for the power thing the man the United States of Africa substantially we're just an president of Africa takes the one thing of the AAP the temper of the Octas and our government thing after this the kind of project they found in the future we're asking something to our right now something we're actually going to write and force them to ask something to our everything there one of the should be as a piece of the word production on 18 major feature application of the seem to be taken to the medical reason it is a method option to include the method of the against happening legal domination the rest of it the best of it here for the merchants are going to speak on the Russian to the somebody who gets that because the journal they go to do that most to the time the Russian does it major not to enter for everything there is one to know which is the name of the conversation they go to something something that the use of the you got that get out of the and the guys are talking about the voice people that make the representation something that's the thing that is something that and it's really what you have to say when you're not looking something to be something and then you're going to that's what you're going to the world policy and national world and the nature other looking out the knowledge and the world and the makes something that areas and active love and evolution talking are something areas and example that's your world of the way of the small you find the piece for marginalizing or making the time future of developing this or everything the international makes it outside voice years and I represent their make when you're such them what are some other making with African other areas African other areas all to engage in what it makes happening that's on our century this was shape this one and to pursue of a concept of what the topic means why supremacy is that can be relied on static points of dormant revolution readings that are hegemonic and modality of enclosure which were enforced at the level of interpretation thus the war about the which part is one all education is imperative research drive or interpretation drive research tension over meaning dividing into the way the interpretive values over race and that everybody is critical virtue interest in interpretive about culture the presupposition but a white supremacist actors that retain racial interpretation dominating as central as control over the interpretation sort of trend to white racial power domination where the position right with the interpretive process entering that making support over the dominating and dominating the belief through the interpretation of how the sort of structure of white supremacy work through this world ideology and unconscious due to the reason it comes to the open revolution desire to maintain racial interpretation goes uncomfortable with critical interpretation become and it forces the normal rather than discussing this agreement because they resort to this sort of thing what's happening and it is one of our rhetorical with the normal concealed white supremacy through running technology science and communication distorted by white supremacy social conforming to social intelligence integration of materials like symbolic knowledge they will just domination by the white supremacy operate and reproduce and the course of mentioned to be outloaded the extents of the bottom of the linear one they can't convert before the attitude of the argument because the role of the emergency, the industrial robot or self-addressing software problems may be pointed because the reason of structural issues can be in different ways, and the structural sort of determines how the view of the event in the mirror to the outcome, and also the attribution of the theory to it. And yeah, education. Yes.
Any independent reasons to vote affirmative?
No.
Okay, the stuff exempted at the bottom, I'm sorry, it was kind of unclear. I have like A comes before T. What are the ones?
We have the rule of L comes forward. The rule of L sets out a structural problem in debate, and therefore, it's not that it came from T, it's just that all topicality and theory offense must be filtered under a rule of L. The rule of L sort of filtered out offense, or else you can never resolve these structural issues in debate.
Okay, let's talk about your rule of the ballot. What is it? The lead evidence just says that all educational research is interpretive, even if like educational research to some extent has different forms of interpretation. Why is specifically a stasis point of interpretation bad?
Sure, we think that stasis points of interpretation in modern sort of educational context are always rooted in Western imperialism against African notion. For example, generically Western rationality, etc., or Western rationality, or like using of the U.S. government, are just methods to sort of reduce African individuals of their own agency. We think that we should sort of imagine different futures where African people have agency, rather than focus on one static version of our.
Okay, that makes sense. NSC creates the resolutions in the context of the United States. How does voting affirmative do anything to break down these like white imperialist systems?
What's the United States? We talk about the United States.
Okay, what does the United States mean?
The United States of Africa. I'm confused.
Sorry, what?
The United States of Africa.
Of Africa? What does that entail? Like which regions are that, and like who consists of these people?
Sure. We think it's a the United States of Africa is a collective, it's sort of a collective of the indigenous and African individuals in that area, embodied but is subjected by Western imperialism. It's a question of imagining the United States of Africa in the future, past, and present. Sort of reducing these, it's a question of the United States of Africa in the past, present, and future. Sort of going through these histories and sort of erasing Western imperialist violence in these areas.
Okay,
I don't know what other US you're talking about.
What does the affirmative do? It says that in order to seize the future, we must decolonize the present. What materially does that do in order to lead to decolonization?
Sure. Oh, sure. Our evidence is very good on this. It talks about how before we can engage in decolonization metrics, we must understand and imagine how it is and sort of form the blueprints of that via like a futuristic understanding. We think that absent that, these voices of imperialist violence, bodies that are subjected to imperial violence, are never centered in these discussions.
Okay, so the app is just like imagination of racism goes away. How
No,
does
that's not.
it do anything materially to change these institutions that you have very much critiqued in the
Well, one, that's a very oversimplistic understanding of the affirmative. The unaffirmative is sort of just the affirmative is sort of reimagining how African have its own agency in the question, and that's a prerequisite to engaging in material reform. We don't necessarily have to win. You don't have to the app is not we do the opposite. It's not a question like materiality. We think that thinking the spiritual is just as important as the material as well, because having agency is a prerequisite to being able to engage in material structures.
Even if having agency is a prerequisite, does the affirmative implementation ever result in anything material post planning?
I mean, the archaeologists removing it from the archive probably.
Okay. I'll take a little bit of that. Write it down. Yeah, we've read a
Yeah, who's the hegemony?
Well, our argument is that the hegemony is for the LIL or for the entire, like...
How does the Affs reduce it?
The affirmative reduces it because it critiques the concept of military presence as a whole. We read evidence that substantiates why military presence is uniquely key in order for hegemony to sustain itself. Question mark. Like, I think there's very much...
Okay, sure. That's fine. What is military presence? What type of military presence is the Affs or the critique us?
Yeah, like physical, real military presence, e.g. presence being deployed.
Sure, that's fine. I guess on the presumption stuff, on changing discourse fails, how does this, or I guess, actually no, your Tuck-and-Yang evidence seems to indicate that, that decolonizing mind is one of the first steps to overthrowing colonial regimes. How does the Affs sort of, how does Tuck-and-Yang flow negative?
Yeah, we've read evidence that even though Tuck-and-Yang says decolonization of the mind could be important, Tuck-and-Yang also makes empirical analysis about why the most important step is material institutionalization.
How do the negative material institutions?
For example, the critique of hegemony indicates that the negative would maintain...
Why is that decolonial? Why is hegemony decolonial?
Hegemony is decolonial because it stops things like revisionist powers, e.g. China resisting other great powers that want to do things like first strike, want to commit revisionist acts against countries.
So, absent China, who else is there? Like, who is there that is like so decolonial effort that when there's no China, they're like all benevolent? Who is that?
We've read evidence that countries in the Middle East, for example, Saudi Arabia, other areas like Hormuz,
So Saudi Arabia
have a threat of proliferation, and they want to do things like...
No. I'm saying like absent China, which countries there in the Middle East that can sustain hegemony?
Absent China, which countries in the Middle East can sustain hegemony?
It's not
we read an argument about why the U.S. military hegemony is uniquely good in order to sustain it. The United States of America, we have defined it in the CUDA evidence on the here.
Alright, cool. I'll take that. between West and also Japanese options up to 1 point. People to knowledge of whatever they receive the possible change. Subject to that will be on the current rate 2 point impact or reveal threshold results here, not support intervals are about this with the impedance. This will be also one thing with the denominator with the negative zero such a for change. As the potential linear thing will be about the rest of the book after the idea. Only we're both to make a literally the cubic everything 1 to the 6 minutes impact. Utilization of Western has everything and the resolution everything part of the case was negative permanent. The formula content is not liberal for our definition of politics, but rather a free fish after 18. If the content higher the topic becomes the framing issue, how they want to hold on to the argument application of political, which is exactly what level 1 after people do all that. We don't need to wait just with the verb after 80 on the limiting academic mutual with that right now. Unless it's really what is not made, the issue is the dumb 2 point no example of improving on some liberalism on the social 1 point of up to 2 point after series of never taken after theory of the academics the all audio 1. Until that gets the results of 18 more example right in anger is that they agree that the equal to first and change that immediately after the the verb the max of the term undetermined. 1 point we make the average reduction multiple than the average of the previous Western knowledge transformation based on Mr. Fenton Maudood will really discuss the pattern for Western after present growth of discourse and to understand whether this is water as objectively be active by virtual impact of wall 14. It is the West Field feature often be active violently, then it is in terms of the terms of the social media that the finance of the individual that you are using relation, not to enter the multiple kinds of behavior, make any document means an act after have seen. That's after the skill program and the implementing tendencies and assumptions also based on the people and very able to agency, the organization will after the past don't free the area, without the actual traffic or engagement for both the terms of the traffic model and psychology, deep relation planning, the boss is the bad, what the technical role was on and the establish not rather constructive that technical feature dealing with 28 with that more precise, we impact on the same way the crowd out of the goes against the making we see top close that we point, we're talking about definition for their lives because we have other control, victims are going to touch all the different things about the outside and goes up to their policy, it has goes out and over to those people who believe that just under the goals turns, record that something being for the resolution of this uploaded, understand that it waits for people to live on against all policy, never to margin something less, which is the record to begin to integrate not impact the difference between the benefits and resolution and teach of benefits that happen without these class, when we want to say classroom recycle basic jokes, also not to put if you impact the classroom, the class model adjustments should be more bad and all these such a game, one such a name, and also the control gesture, I think we should not be enemy for those who don't get through the classroom, the alphabet, both class and match alphabet specifically keep for open. I'm sorry, I'm going to Contribution by the total switch to for second together with critical thinking with efficient possible having virtually coaching that actually to generate social marks of classroom when or making also just strategic advantage to deck that from credit before the A class possible and we're coaching kind of massive case of debate that you ask but there's often small and then what we should not go on together are also my ask for their automation what topic I check and do an alphabet to double and then also make people go to generic something that to back process critical thing hours of duration to point in out for around on to cut with actually get over have some chance to tell this is a lot of secure the aspects to it let's just talk with this potential result moving into 2 weeks to be back to the double line other argument you also know to trigger the other everything else should be reasonable to be the cross factor something that we figured out with we got that's all. Deep engagement just onto the ground, deep engagement so whistle means generating with the mutual intelligence guys that the first Africa, the first Africa people do not need to also generate the one as we saw the law, we have used Africa given age to the third wide to Germany and open the speak not really first of all the present be imaginable, with understanding and growth of the that is their evidence, the present control and the government is going to interact with the movement common neighbors even if they have no other rational speak of it's not a rational market without the limit of how what's the person bad ability then it probably has not going to be the impact of the assumption that satisfies the purpose of the south and alternative that legal non-coordination just with the two Western companies to start properly progress and doing the goals is wide not to about the zone if it's a process of good to take your independent start or to the because people independence ignore the decade of repression genocide the birth of independent states will have the world closely best and also turn to the free trade navigation directly not with easy state segment our developing country 80% numbers and not getting together will be so geared to use whereas the American the West is being pursued that originally and all everything that anything not wait in this question also not train the question type of whether that will take over the US military etc. and it's not waiting to the extinction of African American or African like posting outweighs undiscussed levels. I think it was just like 2 disads on T.
On T framework?
Yeah. This agency disad and the primitive disad.
Okay. Then no reasons like all of them.
None of that true stuff.
What was the text of the counterinter on new Affs bad?
Oh, a lot from my app.
Okay.
Solve predictability. matter. It's like internal impacts of the class, even if the class you're creating is good. And so one class you're creating under a model will never get sort of class understanding of African agency, which means that their model may just increase the imperialism, which always leads to the degradation and exclusion of black and brown individuals from the nation space, which is filter because they're never going to have access to and do have God. Really, you should think of the question about education more form is graded. And they're out. Judge. Conceded, topicality, being untopical, preferred definition of imperialism. Also, their interpretive self-protecting evidence is just a plan text, not actual hard. They cannot solve their class or anything.